It's almost time. Almost 7. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Speaking slow. So it's almost 7, and as it happens every second Monday of each month, except sometimes for the month of June or each year, we have our English meeting here at Cantina. So tonight we're following that schedule, and as usual, what we do on the second Monday is every Monday, be it in Portuguese or in English, is we start with an initial prayer, and then we go to a reading of a message. Tonight, Nancy will come and talk to us a little bit, read the message and explain it to us. Then after that, we have the main talk of the night, which is usually a topic from the Gospel according to Spiritism. And tonight we're going to talk about the last message that's in the chapter 3 of the book, which is "In my Father's house are many mansions." And the topic for tonight will be item number 19, which is a message from St. Augustine that was received in Paris, 1862. And the title of this message is "The Progression of the Worlds." So, as I said before we begin with the regular schedule for the night, let's do our prayer so that we can focus and be more in touch with the good spirits, with our dear friend Jesus, with God, our Creator, saying, "Dear God, Creator of the universe and of our small hearts, here we are once again at our little spot of light, Spiritist Crew, gathering around Jesus' message so that we can, by listening to the message, by hearing it, by making sense of it, that we can understand, feel, and practice this message. And when we are together, we know that we are stronger. So, as humble as we can be, we would like to ask you so that we can have your help through those who are going to speak to us tonight, through those spirits who are always here to help us, to inspire us, that they, together with us, can make even more sense of this message of love and of transformation that we all need for our lives. So thank you, God, for the blessings that we've been receiving, and may these blessings be spread all over the world, and more specifically tonight, over all of those who are here and who are connected to this work, be it physically, be it discarnate, or be via the waves of the internet. Bless them all, bless us all. So be it. So as we said in the beginning, let's invite Nancy, and she will read a message for us and give an explanation that's going to be from the book, Our Daily Bread. And if I'm not mistaken, it's chapter 90. Right, Nancy? Chapter 90?
90, yeah.
Good.
That's right.
So she is coming.
So good evening, everyone. Tonight we will read, like Mackenzie said, from the book Our Daily Bread, number 90. and the title is The Divine Worker. And it says, His winnowing fork is in his hand to clear his threshing floor and to gather the wheat into his barn, but he will burn up the cleft with unquenchable fire. This is John the Baptist. It is in Luke chapter 3, verse 17. Then the message starts saying, the apostles and the followers of the Christ from the beginning of the establishment of primitive organizations of the evangelical movement referred to him by diverse names. Jesus was called Master, Pastor, Messiah, Savior, and Prince of Peace. All of these titles are just and venerable. Meanwhile, we cannot forget that along with these sublime vocations came that unexpected presentation from the Baptist. The precursor designed him as an attentive worker. His winnowing fork is in his hand to clear his threshing floor and to gather the wheat at the proper time, and who will purify the detriments with the flame of justice and of love which never goes out. It is interesting to note that John does not introduce the Master as one imposing laws full of regulations and parchments, nor does he refer to him according to the old Judaic traditions that awaited the divine messenger, drawn in a carriage of magnificent glories. He refers to an optimistic, self-sacrificing worker. A rustic shovel is not lying at his side, but rather always remains vigilant in his hands. In his spirit reigns the hope of cleansing the earth that was confided to his saving guidelines. For all those who live persisting in the terrestrial services, longing for a better era, maintain your heart open to the devotion to the cause of the gospel of the Christ. Let us not be refrained by difficulties or ingratitude. Let us unfold our activities with that precious stimulus of faith, because ahead of us, blessing our humble cooperation, is that divine worker who will clear the threshing floor of the world. Well, before I start to talk about the message, of course I went to the Bible to see about this message. This little verse that he points here. And is the verse 17. But I read the whole chapter because it's kind of a story, right? Have to read one to understand the next one. Anyway, but here I just highlighted some things that I think is important. It's just a reading and we don't have much time. Well, but he starts to say something that kept my attention, and he said, the winding road shall be made straight, and the rough we made smooth. Meaning, sometimes we are on the wrong way, but he's telling us we will be back to the right way for everybody. no exceptions. Every single one will go back to the right path. And another one, he said one that really touched my heart, and he said, even now, we are talking about more than 2,000 years ago, even now, the X lies at the root of the trees. He's saying that X is already there on the root of the trees, like ready to cut the tree out. Saying in its analogy, of course, saying that the good fruits will stay, bad fruits and bad trees will be cutting out. Then he says in another one, well, this story is John the Baptist talking to the people. And there was a lot of people, all kind of people there, listening to him. And then people start to ask, well, but what should we do? Then he started to explain, and he said, if you have two tunics, at that time they usually use a tunic, something that they use underneath, like the first layer of the body, maybe to protect or something. And he said, if you have two tunics, you have to keep one for yourself and give the other one for somebody else that doesn't have any. You have to share your food. If you have more than enough food to you, share with anybody else that it is hungry. Then he started to explain these things, and the crowded people asking him, what then should we do? Asking for more explanation. And he said, the publicans were there, and they were tax collectors. And he said, even to the tax collectors, come to here and listen to me. You, the tax collectors, has to, let's see where we put this thing. What happened at that time was the tax collectors, they had to go to the people to collect the money, collect the tax. But what usually they do was, if they have to collect, for example, 10 coins, they ask for 15 or 20. If they ask for 20, for example, they put 10 coins in their pocket, and other 10, they pay the tax. So what happened is, they were getting richer and richer like this. So the John told them, be honest. Don't charge them more than you should. Don't make you rich using other people's money. Then other people came and said, the soldiers came to him and said, well, and what about us? So John said, be honest and don't abuse of your power. We need soldiers for the discipline, but don't abuse of this situation with others. And then John invited them to think about their actions, the good ones, the bad ones, and regret about the bad ones. Also, he said about prayer and discipline and temptations and stuff like that. So when we read the whole chapter, we feel that the time is now. He was talking this to the people 2,000 years ago, and he said, the time is now. We have to try to be better people now. We have to start to work on ourselves now. And it's so interesting that this thing looks like that he said this thing yesterday, right? To us, we feel that this thing is so alive. It means every single word he said. It's perfect for today to us. And then people on the crowded people, they're still asking him, and they started to do speculation. Maybe John is the Christ, and he said, no, I'm not the Christ. The Christ is coming, blah, blah, blah. Okay, going back to the message, what I understood is he's saying that Jesus Christ was called Master, Pastor, Messiah, Savior, and other names. So, but he explained that Jesus Christ, he started from the bottom. He didn't was born as a pure and perfect person. He started like us, and he worked on himself. And he is the person who reincarnated on earth, the highest level we know. Then the message is telling us that we have to work on ourselves. The time is now. We have to start it as soon as possible, and we have to try to be as better as we can, because this message comes to talk about judgment, and we have to be prepared for that. And how to start, like said on the Bible, start sharing what you have with other people. Well, the time is gone. I will not keep talking about, because the time is done. But that's what I understood. And interesting, when Mackenzie did his first prayer to open the meeting, he said, we have not just listen and learn the teachings from the Christ. We have to practice. That's exactly what this reading come to tell us. Thank you very much, and let's invite Mackenzie for the tonight's study. Thank you very much.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
So after what Nancy said, what can I say? I mean, it's, we call, John the Baptist calls Jesus and Emmanuel titles this message, the divine worker. If God, if Jesus is called worker, what are we? What should we be? So it's a huge task for us, but it's a humbling task. It's a task that we all need to remember, that we have to keep following and keep doing our part in the world and in the universe. And Nancy also said something which I'm going to start taking what she said, because it's really, it is really powerful, actually, in terms of what we're going to discuss tonight. Like we said in the beginning, tonight is, we're going to talk about the item number 19 of the third chapter of the Gospel according to Spiritism, which is the title the title of this chapter is "In My Father's House there are many mansions," and the title of this item that Kardec gave is "The Progression of the Worlds." So this is a message from Saint Augustine, and it starts with this word progress. So I apologize. I have to turn this on. Because I'm going to read from the book, and I want you to see, maybe to follow the reading or a little bit of the reading if you can. And I apologize to those who are listening to this in a recording. I'm not going to have the PowerPoint there, but as I said, this is chapter 3, item 19, the progression of the worlds, on the gospel according to Spiritism. So the first word of this item is progress. So that's the progression of the worlds. And the first word here is progress. And Nancy said, like I said before, Nancy said something that's really, really powerful here. We look at Jesus, and we see Jesus as the Spirit's book tells us, as the most perfect man, right? The guide and model of ourselves. That's what the Spirit's book says. And that's how we see Jesus. That's how we look at him. He's a master, like the message. He's a worker. He's a master. He's a lot of things. And he's this man that came here to show us a way, or the way. But Nancy said something that we forget probably a few times, or most of the times, which is that Jesus was not born perfect. Jesus is not Jesus from the moment that he was created. Jesus was once a man and a woman just like us. Exactly like us. Maybe a little more beautiful. Or, right? I don't know. Maybe, had better hair. Maybe was taller, thinner, not so fat, right? But he was a spirit, or he is a spirit, but he was a spirit that was born, was created by God, just like we were created by God, simple and without knowledge, simple and ignorant. And through his own work, he reached the level that he is right now. And that's why I wanted to make this point and really pick up on what Nancy was saying about this, because that's what the message here will talk about. Is about progress. Is about how things change. And over time, how things tend to change for the better. And like I said, in the very beginning of this message that St. Augustine brought to us, he says, progress is a law of nature. So this is the very first sentence. And we are able to see this, that although and despite sometimes we still see men, and here humans, not as in men and women, but humans, we are sometimes so selfish and we want to build stuff only for us. We want the best for me, for us. And we sometimes, and unfortunately most of the times, we tend to look only at our own stomachs, only at our own selves, instead of looking for the best for everybody. Even so, even being selfish, basically everything that we do improves over what we had before. And what we've been talking and discussing about these on the past few months on chapter 3 is that Jesus came to us and told us that there are many mansions, there are many houses around the universe where we can live, where we will live, and not only outside this earth, but also within ourselves and in different levels of evolution. Let me go back and explain it a little bit better what I just said. Jesus tells us, look, it is almost as if he was catching us by the hand and say, why do you think that there are so many planets around the universe? Why do you think there are so many suns, so many stars? Is it just for us to take a look and see and be like, oh my darling, look how the moon is beautiful. Look, I made the moon only for you to see, for your own delight. Of course, that's not why these planets and these um, stars are out there. So Jesus is telling us, look, we can look at this in two different ways. First of all, we are important, but we are not the most important people in the whole universe. We are just a small, 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 small stone. If we go to the beach and we're looking at the water and we see all that sand and we count all those grains of sand, there will be more stars. There are more stars and more planets around the universe than the number of grains that we have in all the beaches in this planet. So it is such an amazing number that we cannot even count. We cannot even imagine how big that is. And so what Jesus is saying is, look, you are living here now, but remember that this is just one step. This is just one place. This is just, let's say, your first house. One day you'll have your second house. One day you'll go to maybe a better house. It depends on you. It depends on what you're going to do. So you have your house now, but if you kill a person, maybe your next house will be the jailhouse. So you're going to be in prison. So please don't think about killing me. Otherwise, you may end up in jail. It's going to be your second house or third house. I think you've been, you lived in a few different houses just like me. But so sometimes it appears to us that maybe things are going backwards. And we hear some people saying that, oh no, last year was better. 10 years ago was much better. Century was much better. And like I heard Shirley saying yesterday, she said, 15 years ago was not better than what it is. We didn't have cell phones. And who lives without a cell phone these days? So if we go to the Middle Ages, there was no bathroom. And if you did something to somebody would come and just kill you, and that will be it. And that's it. Nobody is punished. Nobody. And we keep saying, oh no, the past was better, and the past was better. And it was not. Some things might have been a little bit, different, but I wouldn't say better. We have more people that have access to things these days, or to a better life, than we had in the past. In the past, there were like those who were on top, and those were like 3 families, 4 families, and all the rest of the town had nothing. And now, at least, we can work, But so Jesus looks at us and says, look, just focus. You have this life. You are right here, right now. So let's enjoy while we can, and let's work. There will be other houses. There are other places we will go to, and it will take some time, but that's how it goes. If I want to be a lawyer, if I want to be an engineer, if I want to be a mechanic, whatever I want to be, it takes time to be it. It takes time to reach that. But if we work hard, and if we really follow the plan, we will get there. So this is the idea of progress, is that we can see it in our lives if we put our effort together to reach something. But in this message here, so this is a brief introduction of some of the things that we discussed these past few months. But in this message here, what St. Augustine wants to make clear to us is that it's not only us, it's not only the humanity that evolves. He tells us that progress is a law of nature. So everything will be better or is getting better, from the atom to the tree, to a tree, to an animal, to anything that we live, that we see around. So that's how he starts. He says, right? I said it. Progress is a law of nature. All beings of creation, be they animated or not. See, what he's saying here is that he even counts not only the beings that are alive, he counts the atoms, the stones, the rocks, the mountains, water. And if we stop for a second and we think about No Solar, for example, the book No Solar, right? And we see the movie No Solar. And let's think for a second here. So in No Solar, we see a river, we see water. And we're not talking about this matter here. We're talking about a matter or this physical world that we cannot see, that we cannot touch, but it exists. So our question is, what is that water related to our water? Isn't it a better water or an improved water with different types of molecules, with different types of atoms, or that vibrate in a different way? So that's what he is saying here. All beings of creation, be they animated or not, have been submitted to this law through the bounty of God, to the love of God, to this wish of God that everything is fulfilled and complete, who wishes everything to be exalted and to prosper, everything to be, everything has its place, everything is important. That's to be exalted. Everything is important. Any little thing, every small thing is important. And they want to prosper. And he goes and explains, even actual destruction, which appears to be the end of everything, is only a means of reaching a more perfect state through transformation. There's a message in Portuguese that I find it to be very interesting. I think it's from Carlos Drummond de Andrade, which is well, I'm not positive that's from him. It might be also from a Portuguese poet, which is Fernando Pessoa. But I'm not certain who wrote it. Maybe one or the other, maybe even another one. But those two names came to my mind. Which he says, at one point, he says, for the responsible adult to appear, the irresponsible adolescent teenager needs to die. So we need to have this transformation. What comes later or after, what came before needs to die so that we grow to a different state. So let's imagine in nature. So we have this huge tree, whatever it is. It's a palm tree or it's a coconut tree, right? How was this tree when it started? How big was that tree? We couldn't even see it, right? It was a seed. It was a coconut. It was one coconut. Or let's imagine a mango tree. It was a mango, a seed of mango was this big. Some was, but they were even smaller. Or a guava tree, or whatever. It was like a seed this size, or even smaller sometimes. And where's that seed now? It died. It disappeared. It was killed. But why did that seed die? So the seed died so that the small plant was grown, was able to be born. And then the roots were going down, and then the plant is going up. The roots are going down, the plants are going up. And what happens here, for example, during the winter time? All the leaves are red, and then they become brown, and then they fall. They all died, right? Why? So that the tree can survive. And then they all die. They provide nutrients for the soil. So again, the tree is getting nutrients from the soil. And then all of a sudden, they all died. But next season, and we are on that season right now, we are seeing all the leaves starting to shine again, all that brand new green on all the trees, and so on and so forth. So when we look at a destruction, we look at something that's being destroyed, we can look at it as the end of something, or we can look at that as the end of the beginning of something. So we can cry and despair, or we can, okay, this phase ended. Now, what comes next? And then something else will come out of it. And that's how it is. So that's what St. Augustine is telling us. He says, even destruction, even actual destruction, is only a means of reaching a more perfect state through transformation. So every destruction is the beginning, or is part of this transformation that we need to go through. So if we think about our lives and our day-to-day lives, it is, so let's just make this, imagine this. We once, believe it or not, we were this size. Once, believe it or not, we were this size. Every single one of us. And now I am this big, and I am this big. And I am this big. Do you ever stop to think about our skin? If my skin was the same, is the same of when I was, like, let's say 3 years old, 4 years old, my skin would be so, like, stretched that it would crack, as if we were like, we had a balloon and kept blowing it. And then all of a sudden, just one small thing, boom, it will explode. So, but it doesn't happen like that with us. Why? Because our skin dies every week. Every single cell of our skin is dead, and new cells are substituted. New cells come up. So they keep dying, and living, dying and being reborn, dying and being reborn. Of course, we age, and that's part of the process. What will happen? We will die. And what will happen? We will be reborn. It's part of the destruction. It's part of the process of reproduction, and destruction, and creation again. So it's the never-ending process of this transformation, of this progress. That's the law of progress. And that's what he is saying, seeing that everything dies only to be reborn again, suffering no consequences from the annihilation. So it's part of the cycle, or the circle of life. It keeps going, and keeps going, and keeps going. So what St. Augustine wants us to be sure is that our planet will be better. But then some people can stop and ask, but what does that mean? What is a planet physically getting better? Some things can be better for me, and cannot be that bad or that good for another person. So what is actually this progression? Is according to God's law, to what is the need for this planet once it gets old? Something new can be born out of it, just like a tree will die. And what will happen? What does happen in a forest, for example, when trees die and fall? Other trees get cut, or other trees die because one fell. But then that that trunk, that tree, will destroy itself inside the earth, will provide nutrients for all the trees that are surrounding it. And all the animals will come and then get stuff from the tree and will do what they need to do, and then new life will come out of this death. So we improve and we progress as we go on, and as we go along with the world. And it will come a time when, that time is up for that specific thing, so we need to replace it with a better thing. And what is that better thing? Is the next, let's say, generation of things. That's how we call it in cell phones, right? It's a new generation of cell phones. So we had dumb phones in the past, now we have smartphones. Now, before we have number 6 and 7, now we're going to be number 8, and we'll have a different name, a different way of calling it, and it's better, it's getting more power, and everything tends to become better with time. My worry, and here is my thought on this, is that God, through his laws, set up this line or this path for everything to grow and be better with time. Comes as humans that we think we are intelligent. And what do? We start to try to create better things, which is all according to the same plan. We are trying to follow the path. But then we say, instead of thinking about the entire environment, we start to think only about me, about myself, about what I want. And I don't care about what the other people want, about how nature will deal with this. And when we are 2 or 3, maybe there's not much, this is not a lot of problem to nature because it's only 1 person or 2 people. So the person will say, oh, I have this bottle of water drinking here in my car driving. I finished my bottle of water, and then what do I do with my bottle of water? I open the window and then I throw it out. Let's think, if it was only 1 bottle every year, what difference will this make? 1 bottle thrown out of the window. No difference, because it's 1 bottle for the entire year. But can you imagine if everybody starts doing it? So that's one of our problems, the problems of the human race, is that we don't think most of the times of the impact of the things that we do, because we don't focus, we don't stop to think that what I do, a lot of other people are doing, and it's not the thing that I am doing, but it's the consequence of what everybody is doing at the same time. So we say cars of the past were better. Better in what sense? These days, despite all the problems that we are having with the emissions and the gases that are being submitted and put into the atmosphere, and we have all this global warming thing going on. But the cars, today's cars, they pollute way less than they polluted in the past. We have a lot of regulations saying that the motors, the engines, and all the things, you have to go to inspection, and they will check how much gas is coming out, how much of the the CO2 is coming out. It cannot come out more than this part per, and it is much better than it was in the past. It is still bad. It is still bad. We're improving. We are improving. Do we want to improve? No, we're trying to make like electric cars with batteries. But then the question becomes, what will we do with the batteries? The batteries are really also bad to the environment if we don't treat the batteries well after they don't recycle. So it's a huge undertaking for us, but we have to keep in mind, and we have to have in mind that, of course, we cannot take care of the entire world, but we can take care of our small world. We can take care of things in our home, in our community. Small things, trash at the right place. If we can use more paper, less paper to print, but more paper instead of plastic for some things, because plastic is bad for the environment. It doesn't degrade in the environment. And so many actions we can take around the world so that we can help the world to progress, I wouldn't say faster, but in a better way. Then it will end up happening. But the thing is, we can put like a barrier to progress. We can say, oh, I want to go here and reach this place. How long will it take for you to come from here to here? Oh, it can take like 2 minutes. But then a person puts a wall right here. So what do I have to do to come from here to here? I either have to climb the wall or I have to go around the wall. This will make me walk like 5, 6, 7 minutes more than if I didn't have the wall. That's what humans do sometimes to progress. We put like a barrier and we keep holding it back. But in the Spirit's book, there's a question that Kardec asks, and what the question is more or less like, what will happen if man tries to hold progress? And the spirits say, if they do this, they will be like, these are my own words, of course, you can go and check it out, but these are, the spirits say, like a roll, they will be smooshed over, they will be, stacked, because they can only hinder progress just for a little bit. Progress will come and say, hey, look, you're there for such a long time. Let's move. You cannot stay there. You cannot be like hindering progress. And unfortunately, that's how sometimes we do it with our own lives. Come the new, and then we say, oh, this doesn't work. This is bad. And the young people come and say, you don't know what you're talking about, so let's do it. And then the young people will say, oh, let's do it. We need that life, those young people to be alive so that they can be pushing things. Of course, we need experience so that they don't go too fast and then they kill themselves. So we hold them back a little bit. So we need that experience versus youth so that we can go, surely, slow enough, not too quick, not too fast, but we keep moving forward. And that's how we should be looking at this progress of our lives as, look, things that are old, they need to be let go. As sad as it can be sometimes. And we can hold them for a little bit. We can say, oh no, let's keep this just as a memento. Let's keep this just as a remembrance. Let's put this in a museum so that we can know, and we know that it happened. But we need to move on because these things are awesome. The other day I was looking at reading this report on the internet and say, look what these people were look what these people were in line for 20 years ago. And then they were there waiting for 2 days in line to get, I don't know, the first cell phone, which was something like this big, heavy, and they were waiting for that thing. And these days you carry stuff like this that has, everything that you basically need inside of it. And who knows what will happen in 20 years. But we keep saying, no, the old thing, the old days are better. What does that mean? Right? And look, of course that if we talk about technology, you can see that it's better. And some people, when they're saying this, they're not talking about technology, they're talking about people. So, oh, we could trust more people in the past, we could do this, we could do that. I don't know. I don't know if the proportion is not the same. We have more people today than we had in the past. We see more people than we saw in the past. There's more cars, there are more things around. And 20 years ago, how did we get the news? It was like one news outcast, one main channel, and like the radio. Today, something happens right at the corner. Everybody that lives around knows it because all of a sudden it's on Twitter, it's on Facebook, everybody knows it, and there's no way to control it. So is it really worse, or do we know more of what is happening? And we are maybe knowing more so that we can actually start really changing, because there is a big difference between being policed and doing something because you're being policed, and there's that idea of if you're not being policed, then you will do it anyways. What do I want to why am I saying this? Recently in Brazil, we had this terrible thing to happen, which was in Espírito Santo, when the entire police force decided to go on strike. So they decided, and we're on strike. And then all of a sudden, what starts to happen is people are scared because now the robbers and thieves, and they will all be out doing whatever they want to do because there's no policing outside. But then what's surprising is that a lot of people who were not thieves, who were not robbers, they started to steal things from other people. And then it makes me question, and makes us question ourselves. Are we not stealing just because there's police around? Meaning that we need to have police for us to not steal anybody? And so, when are we really going to change? And what do we need to do to change? Like Nancy said as well in the beginning, she said, we need to practice what we are studying. Otherwise, what is the point of reading all this? What is the point of saying that I am a Spiritist, I am a Christian, I am a Catholic, I am a Jew? What is the point of saying this, if not to learn and practice? What is the point of saying, oh, I went to law school, and then all of a sudden you decide, oh, no, I'm not going to practice law anymore. So what is the point? What is the point of learning all that, and then while in court with the judge, then you start, screaming and yelling at the judge? There's something wrong. Or you're there with the patient, and then you're cutting the patient to make, to do the surgery and doing stuff, and then all of a sudden you said, oh, let me cut just a little bit more. Oh, let me do a puzzle here. What is the point? It's the same thing. We are studying this, and then all of a sudden appears the opportunity of stealing something, and then you think, oh, there's nobody looking, so let me just go and steal it. What is the point? So when we say that we progress, right, that progress is a law of nature, we're saying that it's a general law and that we tend to do that. if we are not doing it, what will happen is, because it is a law of nature, this law will make us progress, even if we are fighting against it. It's like a mother or a father who is, talking to his daughter or to her daughter, to his son, and saying, look, I'm asking you to do this. Ask you for the second time, for the third time, for the fourth time. You should do it. It's part of what we had. No, we had a deal. You did this, and that's how it is. That's how it's supposed to do. And you're sorry, and you're not doing it. What is a responsible father or mother should do then? Should make him or her understand that that's very important. How do we do that? If the person, if the kid, if the daughter or the son didn't understand it yet, we have to make a way of showing it how important that is. How it usually we understand it. How do we usually understand it? When we want something and we cannot have it. Oh, but I want this. Yeah, but you want this, and I wanted you to clean the room. Oh, you didn't clean the room? Now you don't get this. Would there be another way of doing this? Yes. If the kid did what she or he was supposed to do. So let's think about God. God tells us there's this law. It's the law of progress. Pay attention to it and look, the world is showing you that everything works, that everything wants to improve, build their lives, build better houses, build better places, try to make everybody happy that surrounds you. And that's the general law. So now you have a choice. What are you going to do? Are you going to do what everybody, should be doing? Or are you going to fight against it? I'm going to fight against it. Okay, that's fine. The first time, the second time, the third time. Then God says, okay, look, I gave you a lot of chances. Now, something that you want, you're not going to be able to have it. Why? Oh, and then you scream and you kick and oh, such a kid. That's us. That's God looking at us and saying, look, now you're going to miss a lot of stuff that you could have it. You could be happier, but now you chose not to do it. What can I do now? Now progress needs to push everything forward. You're not going to be able to hold progress, so you will be born again, and now you're going to be on that position because you chose to be on that position. And that's how the wheel turns, and that's how things progress. We all have this let's say, this power inside of us, pushing us forward, pushing us, ahead, looking up, just like a seed, like I was saying in the beginning. You plant a seed underground. You dig a hole, you put a seed inside that hole, and then you put soil on top of it. And then you put that thing that smells really bad. And then you drop water. What does the seed do? Imagine if the seed said, these guys, every time it's the same thing. They put me down here. Now I'm not going to grow. No, the seed says, okay, look, what am I supposed to do? If that's what I need to grow, let me use it to grow. So now I feel the warmth. Oh, there's light coming from up above. Let me seek light. Then the seed starts to break from the inside. That small thing starts to, and then that's that small, very small green thing coming out of the ground, looking for light. And while it's looking for light, there's something going down looking for water and food. And it grows below so that the other one can grow up, trying to do their part. But we want to be special, and we are intelligent, and we say, no, I'm not going to do what I'm supposed to do. I'm going to do whatever I want to do. And then, can you imagine if a seed said, I'm not going to do this. I'm just going to be a carpet. And then all of a sudden, a tree becomes a carpet, or a tree becomes a light pole. And then all seeds become whatever they want, instead of, I'm going to plant a mango tree. I love mangoes, or I love strawberries. I love strawberries. And then I go grab a lot of seeds of strawberries, and I plant a lot of strawberries. And then all of a sudden starts like grow raspberries, more and watermelons, melons. And why are they doing this? Why are the seeds doing this to me? It's more or less what we are doing. Right? We are seeds, and we have our purposes, we have our missions, we have to progress. What are we doing with our own lives? So, we've been, although, and I repeated this a few times, although we hear some people saying that this was, yesterday was better than today. 2 years ago, 10 years ago, 50 years ago was much better than it is today. Our planet has never been in a better position to understand the world, to understand the universe, to do what we need to do. But we need to do our part. We need to evolve. We need to progress together with the planet. And we should do so that we can transform, make this old planet die, this old planet where we are suffering, where we are all unhappy, where we still have lots of diseases. Make this planet die so that a new planet can be born. A new planet where we will be happier, where we will be better, where we will be happier, like I said. So he finishes up. The time has now been reached for one of these periodic transformations, which will move the earth upwards from a world of atonement to that of a regenerating planet where man will be happy because God's laws will reign. So St. Augustine is saying, look, we are living a moment in this planet where we are changing. The whole planet is changing. We are transforming. What are we doing? What is my part on this transformation? What is my task here? What is my mission? Be it small or big, it doesn't matter. We all have missions. It is to be the best parent. It is to be the best parent. And period. There's nothing else that I can do, that I need to do. It's to be a parent. It's to be whatever, a good lawyer, a good mechanic, a good trash collector. It doesn't matter. Do it the best. There's this trash collector in Brazil that he's so good at what he does. He's from Rio de Janeiro. I don't remember his name now, but he's so good at what he does as collecting trash and throwing trash away that he received awards. He came to the United States to receive awards, and he's well known in a lot of different places. During the Olympics, he was one of the people who entered the Olympics dancing with his not costume, but with his regular outfit for work as a person that goes out to collect trash. Why? Because he does it with a smile in his face. He does what he wants to do the best way that he can do. So it's not about being a religious person. It's not about being a person that talks. It's not about being Mother Teresa. It's not about being Gandhi. It's not about being Chico Xavier. No, it's not about that. It's about us doing the best we can where we are. If I am a good father, the best father that I am, that's what I'm supposed to be doing. If I am a mother and I want to be a good person, that's what I want to be, and that's what I need to be. It's to do my task, not to be dreaming of being something that I maybe will be able to do it, but then forgetting what I should be doing better. Oh, I am this best actor of the world, and then you go see his life or her life, and then it's all a mess. Leaving their kids behind and not living as a good man or a good example to their children. And So we grow in one side and then we leave the other side behind? No. If we cannot be that big successful one, let's be the big success in life, not for the others, but for me, for the inside. And that's what St. Augustine wants us to understand. We will progress. It can take time. Sometimes we make mistakes. Sometimes it will take more time to do it. But that's what we need to understand. It will progress. We will progress. But let's help progress. Let's help progress. Let's help ourselves doing what we can do. And let's make this world with this idea in mind, make this world a better place. And that's what, or parts of what St. Augustine wanted us to understand from this message. And hopefully we are doing our part in life and on earth to make this planet a better planet, a more beautiful, not only beautiful on the outside, but beautiful on the inside, on every single one of us, the progress of the worlds. And I guess that's it. What we had for this part of our meeting. Once again, chapter 3, item 19 from the Gospel according to Spiritism. And right now, as we usually do, Cris will do the passes, right, Cris?
Você vai dar os recadinhos agora ou depois?
After.
Okay. Sorry.
It's a multi-language thing happening here.
In my next life, I will speak a better English. So
Oh,
we
good.
can speak in English. How's that?
That's what you're speaking in English, right?
But now I'm good.
So, meanwhile, we're going to put some messages there, and after that, we're going to come here to say the final prayer and then a few announcements.